Record. Great. Well, this is our second ever Some Ventures LP founder and strategic partner meeting. Really excited to have everybody here tonight, and appreciate you making the time on a Sunday specifically. And just I know all of you have heard it from me before, but I'm just going to share just a quick summary of some ventures, where we've come from and where we're going here in the near future. And then the lion's share of the focus this evening is I really wanted to take an opportunity to be able to get our team on the call. We've got a lot of incredible resources behind us and behind me, and wanted everyone to get a chance to put faces with names that they see on the updates. And then I also wanted to obviously take a chance to get through our portfolio founders and have them update the group as a whole. So with that, I'll just rewind in time about 6 years or so ago. I had just left the corporate venture world, and I decided to launch Startup Mavericks, which was the family office consulting investment company that I operated from. And I was a very simple idea at the time. I was going to invest, anywhere between, I think the smallest check I wrote was 10K. The largest check we did was 100K. And I was going to roll up my sleeves, and I was going to actively work alongside founders and help them syndicate the early opportunities. But more than that, we were going to help with business development. We were going to help with marketing. I partnered with Peter Mansfield over at CMO LA, and we were going to really just ensure that companies not only had an idea of what it took to get this initial round of funding, but had a clear path to achieve their next fundable milestones. And over time, that Startup Maverick started growing. We started building out a track record. If you look on our website today, you'll see that we have Some Ventures are the portfolio companies. The top 16 companies are all companies within our current portfolio. And then the bottom companies are all companies that, we started investing in years ago that started building traction. And then there's actually a lot of overlap between the two groups, because there are some companies, for example, you hear from, Giorgi, you hear from Carter Champions and Kevin Cimring, that we started working with early on and made investments in, and then followed on through the fund. And in a lot of cases, I rolled the equity, and Mike, I know, rolled some equity from those early investments into the fund, so that we could have some initial markups here for our LP network. So really, it's been an evolution here over the past few years, but I think we've really landed on what I had hoped to accomplish all along, which was having a fund where we could be not necessarily the largest check size in the founders cap table, but the biggest value add relative to that check size. And that's been a focus, and I hope that you kind of hear that messaging from the founders here, because I think there's a reason why I've got so many very busy founders that are taking the time out of their evenings to jump on these calls tonight and advocate for what we're doing in our approach. And so many that have really stretched themselves and given us an opportunity, in a lot of cases, to be the last money into their rounds as we went in and invested. And it's just it's a testament to one. I think I do a pretty good job of picking incredible people to work alongside, founders with grit, deep domain expertise, and a real passion for what they're doing. But more than that, I think it's that reciprocal nature of helping them early on in their journeys, and they pay it forward. And it's been great to collaborate. So with that, I'm going to just sort of hit some of the highlights of what we're going to shoot for tonight. We're going to do team intros. Before we really dive too deep into our team intros, though, we're going to skip over and bring up Dan Sachar from New Valley Ventures, who's going to kick things off because he's got a limited time window tonight. And then I'm going to jump back in, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the fund and some core updates. But I want to be respectful of Dan's time, and just give by way of a little bit greater intro for those of you who have probably seen Dan on one of our monthly calls before. Dan and the team at New Valley were some of our first investors. They came in, they were big believers in our approach. Dan, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Douglas Elliman, when you invested in us, had never done a solo or done a first-time emerging fund manager, and one that was not exclusively in prop tech before, if memory serves me right.
That is correct. That is correct.
And really appreciate you putting that faith and that confidence in us. And to date, we've made a couple of co-investments in Purlin and Move Easy, and more to come. And Dan, I'll let you take it away, but if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit about your background, about New Valley Ventures, but then also because Ben is in, I believe he says Copenhagen, I believe right now, and he wasn't able to make it on the call tonight. He sent me a message, since you're on the board of Move Easy, one of our shared portfolio if you wouldn't mind
Sure.
sharing just a little bit about what's going on with Move Easy, that'd be really helpful. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I'll do my best. I'll give it, fairly high level because I don't want to, take up, give too much away that without having talked to Ven, who I guess has a good excuse for missing it. But yeah, so hi everybody. I think if you've seen me on some calls with Garrett before, it's probably one of my little filmed intros to Purlin or some other firms. But New Valley Ventures is me. I am part of the parent company that owns Douglas Elliman, the brokerage, along with a few other real estate related assets. Douglas Elliman Property Management, Portfolio Escrow in California, a New York title firm, a JV in Florida. You get the picture. But certainly the lion's share of our business is driven by the brokerage, the luxury brokerage, Douglas Elliman, which I know some of you are in some of our territories: New York, Southern California, certain parts of Colorado, Texas, Nevada, Florida, where I am, and Massachusetts, and most recently in DC. Not yet Northern California. So who was it? Who was in Sausalito? I forgot, but I apologize. We're not up there. Dan Schwartz. So what we do is we try to find and connect with startups and earlier stage companies that we can use operationally in the business. So our primary goal, it's this classic strategic VC. Our primary goal is to find firms to work with that can help and improve either what it is that we do now at Douglas Elliman or add on new capabilities that we didn't have access to before. And once we see a route to working together, at least in the last few years, if the stars aligned, we would then sometimes be a strategic investor as well. So New Valley Ventures is the name for that effort, but it's not its own fund. When we invest, we're investing Douglas Elliman's cash balance dollars in it. So our activity has gone through peaks and valleys, and this year is a valley because the real estate market is down, which is public news, and probably everybody knows. Even though prices are high, transactions are way down. So what that allows me to do, if I'm not able to keep making a lot of new investments, is do more with the firms that we've already invested in, like Giorgi's firm, Purlin, and working on projects and working on adoption and working on implementation. One of the firms that we saw a path to working together with and our timing aligned in an investment was Move Easy. So, and this is a great example of how we work together and with certain firms, because Move Easy, when we discovered Move Easy, we were not the first brokerage that they served. They were serving a lot of our competitors in the industry, and we were absolutely fine with that. And our investment just kind of aligned us strategically to kind of get insight into what they're doing, to make sure they did a great job launching their platform for us. And but it's never exclusive. We just want to be kind of closely connected to these firms, and hopefully Giorgi can attest to that. But before I go on, by the way, Garrett, tell me, or even a show of hands, are people broadly familiar with how Move Easy operates and what it does on a day-to-day basis?
I think the majority of our LPs are familiar. We have a couple of new guest investors. So if you wouldn't mind just doing just a quick summary and share the background, just one, that'd be great.
Yeah, no, for sure. So Move Easy is at least it began, its initial vision was to help people move into their homes, right? So it's sort of almost a TurboTax like do-it-yourself guided step-by-step process into saying, okay, you're moving. Let's now find the right mover. Where are you going to? Let's find the best quotes. And they have direct connections into a lot of major moving operators, and they would source those quotes. That's how it began. But once they realized we're going to help people move, what else can we help them with? And then it started to expand into things like, let's get them set up with Wi-Fi, with security, with all the kind of core products and services that they need, change of form address. So it's really became a moving concierge portal that helped guide people through their process. And over time, it even expanded now into ongoing and recurring maintenance that lives well beyond the move itself. So once you've moved in, if you need help sourcing certain vendors or things of that nature, they can provide all of that. So it's become a home ownership kind of concierge portal. And there are actually people in the background who can help you if you need help. But the way they their business model works is they have direct integrations with a lot of these vendors. It's a commission service effectively, and so they make money when the client, the homeowner, selects a service from one of the vendors in this experience. Their sort of secret sauce, however, is what they have is a route to market and a route to these customers. And that's through branded, white labeled integrations with brokerages like Douglas Elliman. Because who knows when somebody's about to buy a house and move into it better than the real estate agent. So what they did is they went to all these brokerages like myself, like Berkshire Hathaway, Howard Hanna, a number of significant players in the industry, and said, this is a free platform for you. We're going to let you launch your version of a home moving and ownership portal. And in fact, we'll even share a little bit of the revenue that we generate with you, the brokerage, on the back end. But what we're doing is giving you a new service to your customers, to your clients, that they're not getting from you right now. It makes their lives easier by putting it into a single experience. And most important, it's not only branded with your brokerage, but the agent invites them. And then the agent's name and contact information lives on the top of this portal at all times. And that's actually really important, because for those of you, which I'm assuming is everybody, who's bought or sold a house or moved in or rented or apartment or whatever it might be, real estate's a very transactional business. You're kind of done when you're done. But people move every few years. So the whole notion of lifetime value and customer retention, which everybody in the tech world understands the value of, is a little bit tricky for real estate agents. Some are good at it, maintaining those relationships. Some are not as good at it. Everyone's different. So the idea and the thing that was appealing to us was we can now launch a platform, branded Douglas Elliman, but most importantly, it gives the agent something that they invite the client to. And it allows them to stay top of mind, not only during the transaction, but well beyond it. And it helps them, and it just kind of pulls all these home services pieces together in a very useful way for their clients. So we launched a branded version of Moviesy called, we call it Elliman Showroom. Just has our nice, look and feel and design to it. And the idea is, as we work on adoption, which I'll talk about in a second, and then I'll pause and ask and answer questions. The idea is we would like more and more of our agents to not only invite their clients who are home buyers to this experience at the right time. We'd like them to set it up so that that their CRM automatically invites their clients, and they don't have to think about it ever again going forward. That's our longer term goal, and that's Moveesy's goal as well. He's growing. He's growing by signing up more and more brokerages and having some incremental invites to clients, to homeowners, going out and doing a better job with the product mix within them. But he could grow. There's a lot of growth to be had, even in a down market, by getting more and more agents to send out these invites. So that's a big growth opportunity. So I think that's what I would like to work on as a partner with him within Douglas Elliman for the second part of this year.
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much for the update, Dan, for making the time to come in and share a little bit about Moveezy. I wanted to ping you with a few more questions, but I'm realizing that I'm gonna be pressed to get to all of our founders by 7, but we're gonna do some work here and get after it. So thank you again for joining us. And then Giorgi is also a portfolio company. Dan does a lot of work alongside Purlin, but Giorgi is with us tonight, so he'll be able to share and highlight some of those recent developments. And then we've got another couple of exciting companies that Dan shared that I'll touch on later on in the evening as well. But Dan, thank you again for making the time, and stick around if you want to. If those kiddos want to come join and listen to more startups, feel free. But
I will. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna turn off my video, but I'm gonna be in and out to my best. And anybody has questions about Moveezy or Element or anything else, also feel free to reach out directly. Or if you don't have my contact info, ask Garrett or Giorgi, and I'm here. So hope to talk to many of you more in the future. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Dan. Thank you. All right, everyone. So what I'm going to do, touch on very, very quickly, is I want to just highlight one thing on our website, because I don't, we've had a couple of recent updates occur. So this is our Some Ventures website. If you haven't been there before, it's sum.vc. And one thing that thanks to our partners, Adam over at Uptech, we'll give Adam a shout out, and he'll hopefully introduce himself in just a little bit. We now have our news page right here, and this is just our V1, so there will be more coming. But if you ever are curious and want to see what's happening with our portfolio in the news, you'll be able to click right there. You'll see companies like DressX and Green Automotus all making news here, and the various articles that I'll link. Additionally, I'm going to place our monthly updates on this page as well. It's not there yet. It will be there probably within a week, but the Some newsletter that we send out will be here as well, in case you miss it or miss an email. All right, the other thing I want to highlight really quick is I want to highlight this tab, this View Deck tab. So I know I've sent out, and we've gone through multiple iterations of the deck over the past 6-9 months, but we've recently updated the deck with all of our portfolio companies. And so if you click on that link, the password is just capital SUM, and you'll be able to go in and read more and see the updates, see the videos, see the team. But I wanted to just touch on this because it is very important. This is obviously the markups that our current portfolios experience, and the investors that have followed. But this is what I wanted to drive home. Can everyone see this graph? Yeah. Okay. Great. So all I want to drive home here is that what we're doing with our fund, it's not, or it isn't rocket science. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of work to do it correctly. But when done correctly, you see really incredible results, and I think that's what you're going to see consistently throughout the presentation here this evening. And by what a lot of work happens right here. It happens in the earliest stages of when I start meeting with founders, when I start validating founders or validating ideas and meeting with the individual founders and adding value. This is really, I mean, this shaded area where we get to invest, make the 500K investment and watch it scale. This is really a lot of fun, but the work happens in the early relationship building, in the screening. And I think that if you talk with each of these founders, I'd encourage you to reach out to them. They'll each have their own story about, you know what, Garrett invited us to a monthly call. He coached us on the pitch. We worked together. We got ready. We got this first, couple $100,000 in, or few $100,000 in. In a lot of cases, we participate with a small check early, and we help make it happen for them. In some cases, we connect to resources. You're going to see a lot of resources on this call, like folks over at Tammo over Quantiva, or again, Adam at Uptech, Andre from Distillery. I don't know if he's going to be able to join tonight or not. But we have a great bench of talent that we bring in, and we help support our companies. And then what ends up happening is we're able to track and really develop a deeper understanding of those founders. And obviously the ones here tonight are the ones that continue to execute over time, continue to demonstrate that they were the top tier, and then we reinvest. Obviously not everybody makes it, but you know what, this process has worked, and it's continuing to work, and just really a big believer in it. So I wanted to touch on that. All right, enough of me being a little bit long-winded here for a moment. I want to make sure that we get a chance to introduce some of our team. Where is Mike? Mike, are you with us? I know he's having some issues. Hey, all right. So Mike's a partner out of Chicago. I want to give Mike a chance. I want to thank Mike actually publicly, because we recently as a fund were able to get highlighted at the Barn Burner competition. And Mike's been pulling double duty between Sweater Ventures and our fund. And really he helped facilitate that intro, and we went out there. We had a great time. We met with some incredible founders, and Mike, I'll let you take it away from here and just sharing a little bit about your background, what you're up to. And then if you wouldn't mind touching on allocations too, that'd be great.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks everyone for joining. As Garrett mentioned, I'm based out of Chicago. My background has been in tech the last 12 plus years. Started off at an early and recent portfolio company. After college, fell in love with startups, and my background's in finance. And so right as fintech was starting to emerge, I was fortunate enough to join Acorns super early on. I was there for almost 5 years. I led their growth and user acquisition team, so scaled the company, to 7 million plus users. It was a ton of fun. After that, I spent 3 years at Unest, which is also a Sum portfolio company. I served there for 3 years on the board as chief operating officer as well. That's actually where I met Garrett, and we started actually doing a lot of co-investing together. Based on some of his investments that he was doing out of Startup Mavericks at the time, and became close friends. And after I left UNEST at the end of last year, we got the domain sum.vc and really hit the ground running. And and so we've been at this probably just over a year. There's 14 or 15 investments now in the portfolio. It's crazy how the success we've had, especially given the market conditions. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. As Garrett mentioned, I also I also work for another company called Sweater Ventures on the marketing side of things, but I'm not attached to the fund there. We actually just did a collaboration called Barn Burner in Boulder earlier this month, where we held the nation's largest consumer pitch competition. It was great. We had over 500 applicants that we narrowed down to 5 over the course of about 3 months. Flew them out to Boulder and had them pitch for $500K. We're super stoked. And the winners of Barn Burner, we'll talk a little bit about them later and some of the updates. But yeah, the production value on that was great. The video on YouTube, if you look, Garrett served as a judge, representing Sum in that. Already has over 330,000 views on YouTube in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and so a lot of great exposures, a lot of fun. And we're hoping Sum can participate and do more of those. We're really happy, like I mentioned, with the outcomes of that and the companies that we're investing in from that. In terms of my responsibilities at Sum, so anything on the fund ops, fund admin side, financials, all of that, that's me. So for any LPs that have questions on financials, K1s, all that stuff, you can reach out to me. We work through allocations, as many of you know. They are a fund ops provider, so they do all the the accounting for us. They put our K1s together. They do all of that. They do compliance, do our regulatory filings and all that good stuff. So if you, like I said, if you ever have any questions on that side, I'm just Mike at sum.vc is my email. And yeah, I don't know, Garrett, anything that I missed?
No, I think that covered it. So, we have a couple wires going out this week. You'll see everyone on the website that we now have 16 founders. Skedaddle is, I think I got a little ahead of myself with sending it over. Adam, I appreciate you doing the quick update. We're gonna get that wire off here shortly and get that safe signed. But yeah, we'll be at 16 here within a week. And again, checks ranging from 50K to 500K. I know 50K is sort of our pre-seed. We're gonna track, but we think that this founding team is really promising. And in a lot of cases, we're then either receiving warrants alongside the opportunity, or have already understood here's the next milestone where we'll follow on with additional capital. All right, Mike. Hey, thanks. I know I'm gonna try and make sure that we're rattling through the team here so we can get to the fun stuff with some of the founders. Peter, John, I saw you here earlier. There you are. I found you. Hey, thank you so much for making the time tonight. For those who haven't met Peter before, he's been on a number of our calls. Gosh, I gotta say, how long have we known each other now? It's almost coming up on 2 years, I believe, since we were first introduced. Peter's got an incredible background. Was head of global investments at Madison Marquette. Has a background in management consulting, and is gosh, I think a couple years ago he joined some of our band calls that I was hosting, and we just really hit it off and saw the world very similarly. I think in that we both like to do good and make money, and and I could tell you that Peter could make a heck of a lot more money from a salary standpoint than spending his time with some. I think on the carried piece, he's going to do pretty darn well with us. But he's really placed a nice bet coming in. As you see, all of our advisors are also LPs in our fund. And most of our strategic partners are as well, actually. And I really believe in that, having that skin in the game. And I've really appreciated having Peter on the team to add that voice and also be a board member for our investment in Purlin. So Peter, if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit more about your background, and that'd be great, and we'll keep rolling.
Sure, I'll keep it simple. Thanks, Garrett. 30 plus years in strategy consulting. I've covered multiple industries: healthcare, financial services, technology, investments, etc. And I love solving difficult problems and putting a good structure around it. And then I've also served as a global investor, developer in commercial real estate, ranging from small residential projects like $30 million projects all the way to fairly large $4 billion waterfront mixed-use projects in DC. So I've seen a lot, and I've worked with capital from Asia, Middle East, Europe, North America, South America. So pretty familiar with that world, and I just love working with good people, and I love seeing good ideas. So that's why I'm here working with Garrett.
Thank you so much, Peter. And again, if anybody has any additional questions or follow-up for anyone, we have the chat, or we can just all circulate a Google Doc as well. But want to make sure that if there are questions, we'll definitely get to them as but we have to keep rolling through the intros here. So next up is the smartest product person I've gotten to know over the past I guess 10, 11 years since I got out of the Air Force and launched my first startup, and that's Elizabeth Spears, who's our principal out of the Seattle area. And Elizabeth, I got to know first when she was at Distillery, when she was essentially running product over there. And since then, she's gone on to co-found a company called Plainsight, which is one of the top computer vision companies in the country. She's awesome. I could tell you from some of our founders like Jordan and Giorgi, off the top of my head, she was their first one of their first requests on the tech side is they wanted to have time with Elizabeth to talk through some of their challenges. And so she's a massive value add to our team. And Elizabeth, thank you very much for making the time, and I'll hand it over to you.
Of course, yeah. Nice to see you all. Yeah, so my background is in, I started in kind of big data analytics, actually early machine learning before that on the NLP side, and have done at Distillery. I was actually in charge of the kind of the creation of the startup portion of their business. So it was everything a company needed to get up and running in the first place. So everything from their roadmap to their marketing to their legal, sort of everything you need to get launched and running on a good strategic footing. So like I said, I've done big data analytics, IoT, enterprise, consumer, so a lot of different types of products and environments, and had big budgets and small budgets and lots of wins and a good amount of failures. So I firmly believe that you can't trust a founder that hasn't had a good failure story, at least along the way somewhere. So anyway, I'm around, and I really like working with startups and kind of sharing what I know. And so I'm happy to be here as a resource.
Hey, thanks so much, Elizabeth. Would you mind just touching on recently what are you doing with Plainsight? Because obviously, we're an emerging fund. We're small. A lot of our team has other jobs, on the outside. It's the reality of the situation. I'm the only dedicated full-time person on some ventures, but love to hear you share with the group what Plainsight's all about.
Yeah, so we specialize in computer vision, and it's the kind of full computer vision lifecycle. So we both have a product with AI infused throughout that. So the process of kind of bringing in data, both visual data, but it can be other types of sensor data are alphanumeric as well. And then kind of going through those steps for computer vision model generation, and then solution deployment. So everything from building the model to actually integrating it at the end. So we are an Google ISV partner. We work with larger SIs like WWT, Cognizant, et cetera. And we are in a lot of the larger. It's a horizontal. Oh, sorry about that. It's a horizontal software and service company. So we work across industries. We're in QSR, quick service restaurants. We have a lot in agriculture, energy, etc. So we work across the enterprise to kind of deliver on computer vision. And these days, that's also integrating a lot of large language models and working on kind of the multimodal pipelines as well. So exciting stuff on that end too. Happy to talk with anyone about their LLM strategy.
If you ever have any questions in that space, join one of our Friday morning calls. Evie and I jump on, and she educates me every week on something new. Also lucky, Evie, I'm going to move on to just highlighting just briefly Adam and Tammo. I wanted to, and I don't think Andre's on right now, but I wanted to touch on our partners. I think I did briefly beforehand. Really lucky to have Quantiva and Uptech, as well as Distillery and Grafted Growth. These are all firms that work with startups that add value to our portfolio, but not only add value to our portfolio through their support, but they've also added value to our fund through helping support us both financially as LPs and also in volunteering to work with our founders and take a look from a diligence standpoint early on as well, and then sharing deal flow. Adam, Tammo, would you guys mind each just taking 30 seconds real quick, because I know you're both on, and then we're going to jump into portfolio updates here. Adam, would you like to go first, please?
Sure. So Adam Korman, I've been working in tech for 25 years. My background's in user experience. Along the way, I've worked at a bunch of startups, including Acorns, where I met Mike, before founding Uptech with a couple of my partners that we've been working with for years. So we're a relatively small consultancy. We had about 25 people, product design and developers, and we focus on helping startups in particular build great products. We'll put a little squad together to help them do that. In addition to that, we build some of our own software, and now we're getting into investing, participating in some fund and a couple of other funds that are local to some of the other founders in the company, and just excited to be a part of all of this. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Adam. And if you wouldn't mind, feel free to drop the link to Uptake. I'm going to share it with the group after the call as well.
Yep.
It's also our newsletter. And then Tammo at Quantiva.
Sure. Tammo Mueller. I'm the founder of Quantiva, coming out of healthcare technology originally, now 20 years ago. Left Siemens Healthcare at the time to go the venture route. Had my failures, also luckily a couple of exits, and realized along the way that that there's no company, at least at the time, that was really there to support our growth and guide us through the entire product development life cycle. That included ideation, obviously the implementation, but then also adoption, having that really fast, agile, cycle of building MVPs and moving forward. Since then, we started the company focusing mainly on clients that operate in regulated environments, healthcare, finance, food and beverage, sort of the environments where you need to be compliant, but you don't want to trade necessarily your agility for compliance. Also working with very large companies. Meta is one of our clients, Siemens, and so on. And what they don't want to do is, I think they kind of want to understand how to quickly validate initiatives that they have internally. So they use our team to build out proof of concepts and then move it forward internally.
Awesome. and Tammo has been an incredible resource, not only also sharing deal flow, but he's also so I guess entrenched with large players like Siemens that he's helped connect the dots for founders, to include Dylan, who will join us later from Plantswitch, and among others. So thanks, Tammo, for your active participation. And some of you have heard the story before, but Tammo's brother was actually the first founder that I ever invested in many years ago, and it's awesome to have the whole Mueller family now a part of some ventures. All right. Next up, we're going to get in to our updates, but I want to call on, because this is sort of, again, a dual-headed situation where we've got Frank Mastrangelo joining us, and Frank is you know, been one of my go-to most trusted resources on fintech side. He's got an incredible background, having been co-founder and CEO or past president as well of Bancor, and then CEO of Yapstone. And when I knew I was going to launch the fund, I knew I really wanted Frank to be a part of it. Mike and I both had the opportunity to serve on the board with Frank as well back at UNest, and you just can't find someone who's more, frankly, accomplished as much and is as generous with his time. And Frank, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about the work that you've done with us on just the advisory side in your background, and then share a little bit about PayAmigo, if you don't mind, because we're really excited to actually be backing you as a founder here soon as well. So go for it.
Yeah, sure. Just poking a little fun for a moment. It was kind of funny to hear Mike talk about like the early days of fintech, which, you know, I thought they were like 10 or 15 years prior to that, you know, myself, you know, having like founded Bancorp back in like 1999, but you know, what do I know? But
mobile app consumer fintech.
Yeah, it's all relative, you know, it's all relative. So but you know, nonetheless, you know, we grew Bancorp, took that public, and as Garrett said, you know, I've done a bunch of other things in kind of the fintech and payments landscape since. The work I've done with Garrett, like I love advising and, you know, helping with early stage companies. So you know, I just have something that you know, I gain a lot of insight myself actually doing, and appeals to me. So I always have, you know, carve off a fair amount of my time to do that, regardless of what else I've got in my cycle. So I've enjoyed, you know, meeting Garrett through UNest, and, you know, helping with, you know, some of the portfolio companies and you know, investments that Some Ventures is looking at here. And of course, that came around when you know, we had the opportunity, me and two partners, to actually, you know, put a stake in the ground and start a company called PayAmigo. PayAmigo is you know, essentially, you know, single API, single contract, providing, you know, localized integration to payment rails across emerging markets. That's the strategy. We've very quickly been able to amass, you know, a license for the technology we need, a series of global entities, and you know, some of those global entities even having, you know, existing banking relationships, things that are relatively complex in like some of these emerging market countries. So we'll be launching our first 4 countries relatively shortly. The first one will be Brazil, which launches in June. We have 7 figures of ARR actually already contracted for the Brazilian subsidiary. And shortly after, we'll launch Argentina, Morocco, and South Africa as the first 4 countries. The kind of dual strategy in that first we're targeting like LATAM, like the top 6-7 countries in LATAM and top 6-7 countries in Africa. And then we'll begin to build into like APAC and MENA, you know, essentially, you know, in the second half of 24. So.
Awesome, Frank. Hey, thanks so much for allowing us to join you in the co-founders investing in Yapstone, or I'm sorry, Yapstone PayAmigo. I'm going back to your previous company.
Yeah.
And yeah, and also, of course, thank you so much for the time that you give to our portfolio companies and advising me as well. It's been fantastic so far. Look forward to many more, calling you many more times and harassing you about future investments. So, all right, next up, we have, let's see here. I don't think Shane Dyer is on just yet, so we're going to skip ahead real quick and let me see. Let me see who is up. You know what? I see that Cheryl, you were on. Do you want to jump on and share a little bit about living pop-ups, please? That'd be great. All right, where are you? You Cheryl and Ann?
Sure.
Okay, just to give everybody a quick background. Oh geez, I actually just realized I just skipped over Cameron Taylor, who's our venture
All
partner.
right, do you want to do
I think
Cameron first?
No,
Go ahead.
I think he just signed off. It's okay. He had a family call I know about. Cam's out on the Jason, I see you too. I got you. But he's out in Miami, and you know what? We're not going to have enough time to get to everybody on that front. But Cameron and Jason are both venture partners who've been working with us and sourcing opportunities, and definitely appreciate their help. And at the end, we're going to get back to them. Cheryl, Living Pop-Ups, we've done made an early investment, received warrants as well for supporting the company, but this is the future of ed tech, and I can't be more thrilled to have Cheryl and Ann as portfolio founders, and I'll let you take it away.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Bayer. And thank you very much. We are one of the companies who have been working with Tammo. His team has been working with our CTO and the collaborative, and it's been exceptional. We have a platform called LP Bookspace. I would consider it Audibles with augmented reality and AI for education. K through 12 is what we started in required reading. But it will be for education cross-platform. We have taken our first third of our raise, which some ventures has been a part of, and we have implemented a dashboard for teachers, which has been very exciting. So is this something you would like me to share what it looks like to start?
I would love you to share with the group, because it's just so much more powerful visually for everyone to see.
Fantastic. I'd love to do that. It says the host has to let me share screen.
Well, that's a rookie mistake right there. Let me get that corrected.
While we're doing that, we launched in July and have had commitments of over hundreds of libraries from the state of California, Nevada, and Utah. We're in a total of 8 states of schools and different kinds of schools, from mainstream public schools to private schools to LD schools and autism. We've gotten feedback of test scores going up by using our tools. And we just came out of a new show that was for the Southwest, where another 949 rural libraries just made a commitment, and 145 other schools. So no one has had a barrier to entry. Now I can share. Yay. Okay. I'm going to do so. There it is. It's LP Bookspace right there. I'm going to tap on that. I'm going to go to a new book we just launched that has been selling like hotcakes, which is the social emotional book.
Whoa, hi there. Welcome to my story, always in my heart. Do you see that picture on my nightstand? That's Mimi. She's my grandmother. She is really special to me. And because of that, she's always in my heart, no matter what. And you can have lots of people in your heart. Parents, pets, friends, best friends. Oh, that reminds me. Hey, Cart. Oh, hi, Lily. Hi, Cart. Do you want to read this story with me? Sure, Lily. I love reading. Think about people who are always in your heart and come join us inside. Come on, let's go.
Okay. And then there's reading comprehension questions that go along with it. And there's a dashboard that has been developed that in real time.
My parents have always told me that it's okay to cry. They say it takes more strength to feel your feelings than it does to bury them deep down. Me, my mom, and my dad are all crying together. So I guess you could say we're pretty tough.
So they're reading comprehension questions. No matter what book there's a school using, there's a log into your classroom. We're on Clever and Google Classroom, which are two used across the country. And Anne, did you want to share any other updates?
Sure. Just wanted to say, first off, thanks, Garrett, for having us on tonight. And of course, thank you for all of your support. You've been wonderful. And I think the key thing is that we're seeing the response, not only in terms of the response at the shows where we're getting interest from the libraries and the schools, but we're also getting interest from sales reps who represent the schools across the country. And we are signing on independent sales reps to help get LP Bookspace in front of more educators, more district leaders, including in states like Virginia, where they have very specific literacy requirements, and we're going to be working on RFPs in the state for that. So a lot of movement forward. We are, as Cheryl mentioned, we're seeing movement in terms of both our surveys, where the kids and the educators are engaging, they're using our dashboard, but then we're also seeing the movement in terms of test scores, which for the education market, which is my specialty, is a real critical element to success moving forward.
In our next part of our raise, the exciting thing is we're building the toolkit to build your individual curriculum. We have been making deals with the Scholastics, the HarperCollins, the Simon Schusters, and the Macmillans, as well as some more independent publishers. But everybody sees the need. They love the collecting data in real time. And it's very exciting to see what kind of impact we're making. So impact is how money comes. And I guess that's how we're showing by doing. And so that's really thrilling. Any questions?
I think, well, I don't think we're going to have time for a lot of questions, but I'm going to ask a couple of leading ones. Cheryl, would you mind highlighting just some of the, because of your connections in the entertainment industry, some of the celebrity voices that you've been able to gather? And then also, would you mind showing actually one of the questions in the books? I don't know if you have, and highlighting the number of titles you already have live.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure. We have over 12 titles live with more on the way. And Cheryl can show one of the interactive questions. The key thing about the interactive questions is that it provides the student as well as the educator an opportunity for in-the-moment feedback around the cognition for reading, the stamina, the learning that's happening in that very moment. So rather than having a child sitting in the classroom pretending to read along, pretending to get it, they can really see as they're going along how the child is doing, and provides the educator an opportunity to intervene in the moment if something's not going well.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. Am I on mute?
Nope.
No, you're good.
Okay. All right, here we go. Here's a reading comprehension question.
Today was an incredible day. I won a big silver cup and brought home $25. I did it by doing something I'd love to do. Do you know what that is?
So like I said, in real time, if I answer this wrong.
He's definitely good at cutting grass, but this time he did something a little more competitive. He had to be very quick on his feet.
Okay.
Yes, I ran in the race and won. Woo! I love to run and didn't even think I would win because I didn't train or practice. Ah, shucks.
Okay. So with that, like we said, a teacher has the dashboard. They track it in real time. They see if the child needed redirection, and then they get the answer. And that's the dashboard that is being used by teachers and can access so quickly by Clever or Google Classroom.
Hey, Cheryl, thank you so much, and Anne, for making the time for us. I know we're rapid firing through our founders this evening, but I just want everyone to get to see it, and so I can share with all of our LPs all the incredible work you guys are doing, and really excited to see all the organic growth. Really, you're not paid for marketing. You're getting into all of these libraries, and we're going to add fuel to the fire here, and add fuel to the engine, I'd say, and watch you accelerate over the next couple of years. So thanks again. I've
Thanks,
got
Garrett.
to, and if you want to leave your contact info, just in case anybody wants to reach out or ask you any questions independently, that'd be great. I'm going to move next. We're going to go to Lee, and then to Carter, and then to Giorgi, then to Kevin. That's what we have up right now. Lea Ellermeier, let me backtrack real quick and share that right when I first started out, after I left running the corporate venture fund and launched Startup Mavericks, I started hosting events all over LA. I said, you know what, I'm just going to hustle. I'm going to get founders together everywhere I can. I'm going to bring them together. I'm going to bring together investors from all of the angel groups. And I tell a story about that. I hosted an event once that was, I want to say it was down in Orange County, or not quite Orange County, but almost Orange County. And it was a random location. Hardly anybody showed up for the event. It was tough to find. But at that event, there was a founding team of mechanodontics, and James Ratton showed up for that event. And I remember saying, gosh, this is the future of orthodontics. This is something really special. I wish I would have had this. And it's been a journey the past few years filled with ups and downs. But I can say that one thing that I feel really good about is the fact that Lea Ellermeier, who is the only person who's actually sold a company in the lingual space, is at the helm as CEO, and recently put together a funding round led by Sonder Capital and Invis, and she's going to share that we're participating in, and she's going to share an update on the status of Brius and really the way ahead and the exciting milestones ahead. Lee.
Thank you, Garrett. So just so you know, I did record our pitch completely. So that's available on YouTube. Garrett has a link. And if you want to go through and see the pitch, I know a lot of you are familiar with the company and what we do. So I'm Lea Ellermeier. I'm the new CEO. I've been at Brius now since January. And I was first actually introduced to the company back in 2019. I met Mehdi, one of the other founders, and Jamie, and I was very, very impressed with the technology. As Garrett mentioned, I had sold a lingual company to 3M some years back, and it's really the only other lingual company that has been focused entirely on lingual orthodontics that's had an exit. And when I first heard that there was another lingual company, I kind of rolled my eyes. Oh, another lingual product. What could it be? And then I saw it and I was blown away by the concept of the individual tooth movement. And, the opportunity really not to just make this about lingual, but to make it about a different paradigm for moving teeth. If you look back at the history of orthodontics, for many, many, many years, probably when a lot of you were getting your braces, it was brackets and wires. They put a bracket on the front of your tooth and a wire. You went in every month, they tightened your braces. You were miserable for 4 or 5 days, and then you had to go back again. The last big innovation in orthodontics happened in 1998 when Invisalign first came into the market. That's now a 25-year-old technology. And one of the things that we've seen with orthodontic aligners over time is that they're very compliance driven, right? So if you are a doctor and you give this to your patient, you have to rely 100% on that patient wearing the aligners for 23 hours a day, which generally doesn't happen. So I think the love affair with aligners has declined. Enter to Brius with the Brava device, and the company started very, very focused on the aesthetic space, looking at teenagers. They've also had a lot of adult patients. We've treated over 4,500 patients to date. So there's a lot of real data there. There's been a lot of learning that's happened. The product has continued to evolve. As you may know, the company had some missteps. There were some early scaling issues that needed to be overcome. But we're on it. We're working it. We have a team in place with myself, Joe Breland, who's actually the VP of sales from Invisalign, who launched Invisalign 25 years ago. Joe since launched a number of other disruptive technologies into this market. My co-founder from Lingual Care, Rutger Rubert, is our interim CTO. Rutger has been working on our technical improvements, working on the product. And all the feedback that we're hearing from the market is that they believe in this. They see amazing things. On Friday, as I was sitting at my desk, a doctor kept texting me photos of the patients he was seeing that day. And the incredible before and after photographs of what this appliance could do with just one Brava. And so I'm very encouraged by that. Clearly, we have some work to do on our side. And we are doing it every day. My mantra to the team is, if you're not working on one of these three things, then you're doing something wrong and you need to come and see me. Number one is clinical efficacy. Number two is clinical usability, because all of these products come down to how usable they are by the doctors and the staff. And then the third is the customer experience. And that means the patient. What's the patient feeling? How's it working for them? What's the experience like, right? Because you're putting this in somebody's mouth. They're going to go home with it. They need to live with it. They need to get through every day with it. And so what is that experience like? And so we are focused on optimizing and improving every area that I just mentioned. And we firmly believe that with that focus and with that investment in time and effort, getting all the development, the process, the clinical process, all the materials right, that not only will this be a lingual product, right, which kind of sounds a little bit niche-y. I don't think that it is. I think this can be the future of orthodontic tooth movement. So, that being said, we are in the middle of a fundraise, as Garrett mentioned. We did a first close a couple of weeks ago. We've raised $6 million on the first close. We're targeting 15 total. I've got 6.5 soft circled for the next. So there's about 2.5 that's still available. I do have people looking at that. We are targeting a close in mid-May. So if you're interested, we need to move fast. And I wanted to leave a little bit of time, Garrett, to answer any questions that people may have. So that's where we're at with Brius right now.
Yeah. Lea, I tell you what, I think that what I'll do is I'm going to gather up the questions. I'll put you in touch directly, because I'm going to share the video link and make sure everyone can actually watch the full presentation. But if
sure,
I just in order to be fair to all the founders, we're gonna roll through everyone tonight. But again, for the group, I want to just reinforce one thing. As a seed stage generalist, my thought is that if we don't have a core area of expertise, on our team, whether it's AI with Elizabeth, it's in real estate and prop tech with Dan and Peter, whether it's in fintech with Frank and Mike, if we don't have someone directly on our team who's really the subject matter expert, then I rely on a very trusted, much larger VC investor, and then bring in other subject matter experts when we're looking at an opportunity. And in the case of Brius, I don't know if Lee mentioned it, I don't think so, but Sonder Capital, founded by Fred Mall, who founded Intuitive Surgical, is the lead. Invis is a very large, multi-billion-dollar private equity fund that was an early investor. GT Healthcare is an investor, or will be an investor in this next close, is committed, and is along with Dowell Ventures and a number of others on that list. But this is I would say occasionally we'll stretch ourselves a little bit from a valuation standpoint. We're looking at sort of right around well, actually I won't right around a 30 post here, depending on how much ends up coming in. However, this is a multi-billion-dollar market opportunity. I believe Align we're talking about companies that were in the $2 to $20 billion range, depending on when that we're competing with, that we're going to be taking market share from with Brius. And Lee, correct me if any of that was inaccurate that I just shared.
No, that's correct. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Dowell Ventures. They used to be KTV. They were Korea's first venture capital fund. So, and they do a lot of healthcare investing. And GT actually was in the first close as well, and they'll be in the second close. So we have strong healthcare investment VCs on our side who believe in the company and who will continue to support it.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for making the time. If you would actually just save me, because I'm pulling multiple duty here. If you wouldn't mind dropping the link to the video, I have it, and I'll do it later. But Lee, if you have it handy and can drop it in the chat, that'd be wonderful. And
okay.
Next up, I get to introduce Carter Russ, and I'm sure most of you have seen Carter before. Carter is the co-founder, I would say, the original, very original founder and idea man behind Champions Around. He was actually he won a pitch contest that I hosted over 3 years ago now, looking back on it. I think it's right at 3 years. And since then, we were very early investors at the $2.5 million valuation, which I rolled into this fund. And Carter's had just tremendous success capturing the future of fantasy sports targeted specifically at the Gen Z audience, but releasing products recently that have much more mass market appeal. And Carter, I'll hand it over to you to share an update on where you guys are going with Champions Run, especially given that Steve Cohen just participated in your Series A.
Yeah, sure. Well, appreciate it. Firstly, just want to share, I was one of those kids with braces and rubber bands, what feels like yesterday, even though it was, I guess at this point, almost 20 years ago. So great to hear kind of the way in which orthodontics is evolving, because I remember how much all those adjustments hurt. But thanks for your time, Garrett. I can't believe it's probably been about 3.5 years since your pitch competition. I only know that because it was pre-pandemic, in which it was still normal to actually show up in person. And me being the well-prepared nerd I am, was the only one that actually came with one of these little clickers, because I carry one everywhere. But at that time, you became a good friend, and happy to call you one of our investors and my neighbor. But a bit about us. At this point, we are the fastest growing fantasy sports and sports gaming platform and media brand for Gen Z. You can pretty much describe us as, Roblox for sports games. Basically, we've created these games that can be played with a bunch of friends over and over again. And next step, we're turning them into really just this customizable tool where you can build and cultivate communities based on the types of sports games you develop. And kind of similar to a YouTube channel, if your community takes off, you can start to monetize it. We just closed our Series A. Actually sought out to raise 5 million, and we continued to oversubscribe it. So we closed about 6.5 million just recently, led by 0.72 Ventures, bringing Steve Cohen into the fund, plus the New York Mets. So my Anaheim Angels are still my favorite team, but the New York Mets are close behind. It was co-led by a group called Goodwater Capital, a well-known consumer fund, in which their managing partner was actually the principal that led Accel's Series A investment into Facebook. So they've been quite a fantastic combination. And excited to announce that while we were at 6.5, our Series A keeps getting bigger. We just we're closing another 2 million from Sapphire Ventures, who, if any of you guys are familiar, are one of the leading sports investment funds. Their LPs consist of about 120 different team owners. So this actually brings our commitment up to about 8.5 million. And the 500K remaining is about pretty close to being taken by a very well-known basketball team that happened to have had a great Game 7 win today. So excited to announce that looks like our Series A, we went out for 5, tough climate, and then looks like we're walking away with 9 from 0.72, Goodwater, and Sapphire Ventures. So it's been a good run, and Garrett, excited to share to you that the markup keeps going up. This additional 2 million is at a 30 million valuation as well. So
that's news to me. So I'm gonna celebrate with a virtual high five.
Oh yeah, excited to share.
It's fun to break that kind of news on a call like this. Thank you, Carter.
My pleasure.
Oh, awesome. Well, hey,
Okay, who's gonna follow Carter with that news?
actually, you'd be surprised. We've got DressX and Automotus still to go, along with Purlin and paperwork. So it's we got some good news coming tonight, and I'm really thrilled. It's been so much fun to see, just these journeys for our founders. Carter, maybe if you wouldn't mind, just for a minute, sharing a little bit about how we played a part in the journey along the way, just for a quick minute or two.
Yeah, definitely. Well, when you met, we hadn't raised a single dime. I had started to kind of cultivate a network. We had been through an accelerator program that was founded by Adidas, but we really hadn't quite bridged the gap from early interest, popular accelerator, ultimately to closing a seed round. Garrett ultimately became instrumental in helping us just really refine our pitch, understand exactly how the venture capital game is played, and really how we could tell our story in a way that essentially could profess to a venture capital firm that of their, say, 30 bets to make per fund, that we were one that actually had the potential to be a fund returner. And we knew that we had a solid enough team, a big enough idea, but definitely hadn't quite figured out exactly how best to tell that story. So Garrett was huge for us. And then ultimately, once we landed a term sheet, he made sure to really help us fill out the remainder of the round, brought us to the Band of Angels, and ultimately they committed the remaining about 25% into our seed round. We're kind of instrumental in helping us learn how to pitch a VC. And then ultimately, once we had landed one, how to then, jettison that into closing from an angel syndicate. Learned a lot. And Garrett has definitely been, as any investor should be, the person to really understand exactly when to let us do ours versus when to really hold ourselves to our shortcomings. It's very hard sometimes to face your challenges, and a good investor will make sure that you're always cognizant of them and being honest with yourself and honest with your team, and proactive in addressing them. And Garrett, glad to call you a friend. Glad that you've been really just, you feel almost in many ways one of the co-founders of the company.
Wow.
So I appreciate that.
Well, Carter, it's been fun, and I could say there's nothing like doing diligence, either over grabbing a beer with the founder, but even better than a beer is doing a really tough workout with a founder, because you can get them worn down and you can ask them the hardest questions. And I've had a few of those trips to the sandhill over the years with Carter, and we won't go too much down that road right now, but it shows, I think that one of our real competitive advantages that we get to know our founders better than everyone, and that means that we have greater insight into what's happening next in their business, any challenges that might be coming up, and then we're able to place smart bets accordingly. So thanks, Carter, so much for making
my
the
pleasure.
time.
Last thing I'll add, I'm going to drop a Venture Beat article covering our Series A if you want to learn a little bit more. That you can also find us in Forbes or TechCrunch covering this raise, just to talk about what we're going to do next.
Or thanks to Adam Korman on our new news page, which is going to have a lot more champions around content that we're going to push to our website as well. Giorgi, Kevin, keep me honest here. Who did I say was next up? Did I say Giorgi?
You said Giorgi.
All right, and you've been here for a while, so thank you so much,
Yeah.
Giorgi. I just knew that Carter had we had certain windows that we had to work with, so really appreciate you guys sticking around. And let me highlight Giorgi real quick. Dan from New Valley was on earlier. We actually co-led this investment in Purlin. I think that one of the things that I touched on earlier was meeting founders early, figuring out how to who's skating to where the puck is going. And Giorgi was definitely doing that from over 3 years ago at the intersection of AI and real estate technology, and building out the models that are actually going to really revolutionize the way in which we not only buy and sell properties in the future, but search for homes and the way in which agents communicate with their potential buyers. And so this is the only deal to date that we have. Well, actually, this is the first deal that we've led. We're actually getting ready to lead one more, but this is the first deal that we've led and closed. And Peter Jun is on the board of Purlin, and we're just really excited about everything that's coming. So why don't you take it away, Giorgi?
Thank you, Garrett. Good to see everyone. A lot of faces I've met before, a lot of new faces. Good to meet you. I'm the founder and CEO of Purlin. we've been in the AI space in residential real estate since 2018. So one of the early pioneers in this space. We have a very strong AI pipeline. We have a lot of first-party data. We have been due diligence by partners at Deloitte, technology partners at Deloitte, and they sing praises of our AI team and kind of what we're doing in the space, how scalable we are, how innovative we are. So this ChatGPT craze is kind of balancing the real estate downturn for us, as well as our balanced portfolio of products is also helping us a lot. We use AI to solve real problems for agents, brokerages, real estate companies, like, very large holders of multiple brands, as well as escrow, title, and mortgage. Our products range from AI-enabled targeting of leads and nurturing of leads to incubation of leads using AI prompts, AI nudges, to conversion, to communication of the deal flow. And then we kind of hand it off to post-closing, which is what Movizy was talking about, what Dan was talking about with Movizy. We have our biggest client is Douglas Elliman at this point. We have others. Our kind of PR client is Frederick Eklund and his team. And then we have small clients, large clients in addition to that. Our best performing product right now is the one that finds clients for agents, not surprisingly. We have over 2,000 agents at Douglas Elliman who use this product almost every month, which is phenomenal adoption for us. We launched a new product for a closing process that again uses AI to capture the business from the real estate agent into the fully owned subsidiary or a partner company for a real estate brokerage. And that product was launched on April 1st, and within 1 week it had 90% adoption. So I think we're doing a lot of things right. We're not doing AI for the sake of AI. We're really using it cleverly to solve real problems in new and productive ways. We have about 60 people, no business development, no marketing yet, but we're getting there. We're UX to AI all the way, the entire pipeline. So what else? Garrett, Peter, I just want to thank you both in front of everyone. Garrett, you believed in us from the start, me and my team and our idea and our vision. It's hard. I think as Carter was talking about, when no one's listening, and when you find someone who's listening and is also tough on you, it's kind of both refreshing and scary at the same time. But I think, Garrett, you do a really good job of due diligencing ideas while also building relationships. I mean, you have tremendous skills in that space, and I just commend you for doing that so well with so many founders as we see here. And then Peter's on our board, and it's just phenomenal to have Peter on our board. Our board meetings are focused on solving strategic problems, real thought partnership going on, real problem solving going on. I come out of board meetings with a clear strategy of what we need to do or how we need to adapt or change or introduce a new direction. So Peter's been amazing on our board, and we just look forward to continuing this partnership with Some Ventures and the Some Ventures ecosystem. So Garrett, was there anything else that you want me to hit that I missed? Perhaps
I think that the one thing that's kind of neat, just because I think it'll probably resonate with outside of Element, is what you're doing specifically for Eklund Gomes on the website front, and
good point.
How this is going to help give you greater exposure to the market. And then if you'd also just briefly touch on Compass and what they saw in you that they could not execute on themselves.
Right. So with Frederick Eklund and his team, we're actually training a model right now that's going to speak and promote properties using their voices, so to speak. So in September, we're launching a major push, a brand new website for them using our website product with built-in AI, an assistant that's basically going to interact with users as Frederick would. So a lot of PR that he's personally excited. He has 2 million followers on Instagram, so he's personally excited about this, and we're going to get a lot of pretty high quality free PR from this. But again, this whole ChatGPT phase is kind of creating opportunities for us to play in the marketplace where we are very strong. and push out some of these good PR stories between now and, let's say, end of September. And then what was the second piece, Garrett, you wanted to speak to?
I was just
the
hoping
Compass piece. Yeah, Compass, like our platform has been due diligence by Compass. It has been due diligence, as I said, by Deloitte and other very strong technologists. And when we spoke to Compass's AI team, we had 3 or 4 models that they were trying to figure out if they could gain more information from us, or how we built them and what kind of data sets we used and things like that. One of them was notably style model. Back then we had 6 styles that our computer vision systems could predict from a photo. Now we have 12. And I get into meetings and it's kind of fun when I start talking to a broker and then I show them our style model and it's a Chicago school style. And they're like, Chicago school, that doesn't sound like it's a good name for a style. But I'm like, it's an actual style. It goes to show you why you need our AI, because we know things that a lot of agents may not. So yeah, I think we're ahead of our competition in many places already, and I think we have a very scalable platform pipeline for AI that plugs in our own models as well as new models, multimodal models, etc., into our pipeline, so we can continue to be ahead of the curve. We have 2 patents right now, and then 2 more patents that we're working on. Specifically, the new ones are about data and training models. So hopefully that answers that.
Yeah, it does. And would you mind, just besides obviously you mentioned us in New Valley, who the other co-investors are as well?
The other biggest one is Redwood Trust, which is in the mortgage space. They're one of the big residential REITs. And then we have, kind of smaller VCs. We have Frederick, who invested, and his team, Frederick Eklund and his team. So we have celebrity investors and mortgage side as well. And obviously New Valley, which is Douglas Elliman and Some Ventures. Those are our key names here.
Great. Hey, thanks so much. And for those who might not be as familiar with Eklund Gomes, is $1 million listings. So the television shows, they handle a large chunk of the very high-end business for Douglas Elliman as well. So awesome. Hey, Giorgi, thank you so much for
thank you, Garrett,
for making the time for us this evening. And yeah, excited to see what's comes in the coming few months. So, and including some other funding news that will break here in a month or 2. So great, thank you. Great. Kevin Cimring has been very patient with me because he was logged on early. There he is. There's Kevin. All right. So Kevin is the founder of Paperwork, and the story sounds so similar across so many of our portfolio companies. But again, I was really lucky to get to know Kevin a couple of years ago when we started jumping on a weekly call, and I've just been blown away with the way in which he and his team have executed. Kevin's back is a perfect example of the type of founder that I look for, in that he's got, when you talk about deep domain expertise, he previously built and sold GemStep, another fintech platform. He had really strong co-investor in Launchpad Capital, Ryan Gilbert's fund, around the time that we came in, and then Kickstart jumped on board, and then AARP jumped on board as an investor. And I won't steal too much more of Kevin's thunder, but it's been just a lot of fun watching him build the future of financial wellness, and then the other applications of his platform. So Kevin, why don't you take it away and share an update?
Sure, thanks, Garrett. Hi, good evening, everybody. Great to see everyone here. And Frank, great to hear about your new startup and that you're launching something in South Africa. As you can hear, probably I'm originally from South Africa. So if you need anyone who speaks with a strong South African accent, I'm your man.
I thought you were from Texas.
Sorry, what's that, Jason?
I said, I thought you were from Texas.
From Texas. Yeah, funny. Yeah, so great to see everybody. Garrett, thanks for that introduction. I'm going to change things up a little bit, and just to be efficient with the few minutes I have here, just going to share real quick a deck, just a couple slides that I'll walk quickly through. Let me see if I can make that a little bit larger. There we go. So yeah, real quick, just to give everyone a quick snapshot, we raised our seed round in January 2022. Starting at the bottom there, we closed out with Kickstart, as Garrett mentioned, a great venture fund out of Utah, Launchpad Capital here in the Bay Area, fintech focused fund, AARP, and some ventures as well. And I'd in fact met Garrett way before that. Just to say a word about Garrett up front, instead of waiting till the end of the presentation, but Garrett's really kind of bought into our vision right from the get-go. And I think it was Russ that expressed it really well, who said, Garrett feels like one of the co-founders. Because although Garrett is an investor, and we take our obligations to our investors really seriously, but at the same time, Garrett's been a mentor, a friend, a real partner. We meet, we jump on a call once a week, and Garrett, he will not miss a call. Come hell or high water, his word is his bond. Unbelievable supporter. So all I can say about Garrett is to echo what Russ said. Really feels like a true partner in the trenches with us, and just been phenomenal mentor and support for us. So that's where we started out, January 2022. We expanded into a full financial wellness solution. With that funding, we were able to really expand our product set. My background is in enterprise fintech, as Garrett mentioned, GemStep. My prior company was a digital wealth management platform for the enterprise. We worked with banks like Citibank, KeyBank. So the natural kind of tendency for us was to distribute through enterprise partnerships. We identified two really outsized enterprise distribution opportunities, which I'll talk about in a second. And with that, having identified some core opportunities, developed out a really robust end-to-end enterprise platform. And today we're implementing with our first major customers. So that's kind of a bit of a long story short. As a reminder for folks that haven't seen Paperwork before, what is Paperwork in essence? So we're a financial wellness platform for the enterprise. What we do is we help institutions improve the financial well-being of their members. And by doing that, really deepen the affinity between the institution and the member. We boost loyalty, increase retention over time, and identify cross-sell opportunities for the institution. So really boost that lifetime value as we build loyalty with the member. The two areas that we are focused on, two sectors. One is on the credit union industry, which we kind of see as a beachhead for us in the broader financial institution industry. Now, there's community banks, regional banks, etc., which we've got one eye on, but really starting out with credit unions, just because there's great alignment there. It's a massive segment, 136 million members, so kind of 1/3 of the population. And the demographic of that membership fits very well with the financial wellness that we offer. A lot of those folks are not high net worth, kind of middle income folks who don't have access to financial advisors. And so there's a great fit in terms of going after that segment. And then the other segment that we're focused on is a very large and growing segment, which is the family caregiving segment, helping family caregivers navigate the impacts of family caregiving. And that the addressable market there is about 53 million family caregivers today, anticipated to grow to 70 million in the not too distant future. So some key validation points for us in both of those segments. We're launching with a top flight credit union, BCU, Baxter Credit Union, on May 17th. We're knee deep in implementation of this deal. And it's a great, as I say, validation for us because they are really regarded as one of the most innovative and forward-looking credit unions when it comes to financial wellness. They have 400,000 members, and they're leveraging Paperwork, hugely exciting, leveraging us to really go after new members. So their entire new member acquisition strategy is centered around financial wellness with their version of Paperwork, a white label version, really spearheading that activity. And the way it works is they have a number of corporate partners. So you'll see on the right there just some of the companies they work with. If a person is an employee at any one of those companies, they're eligible to become a member of BCU. And so BCU are going to look to distribute the paperwork app throughout those corporate partners. Those are just several. I think they have 75 plus corporate partners throughout the US, giving us access to about 2 million employees as we roll out this program. So wonderful deal for us, and which has really helped boost our pipeline. We're seeing a lot of interest from other credit unions who are watching this deal closely and thinking, well, if BCU are working with us, there's got to be something there. And we've just kind of seen a huge influx of interest based on this deal. In the caregiving segment, naturally having AARP as a shareholder, was instrumental in us focusing on this segment. We went through an accelerator program with AARP, learned a lot about this segment, and have really been working with AARP for a long time now in developing also a tailored app, financial wellness app for family caregivers. This is in a really advanced stage, and we're hoping to still go live with this during the course of this year still, which, if all going well, will give us access to about a 60 million plus audience. The AARP membership sitting at around 48 million members, together with account holders and members of the public that AARP extend their marketing to, really gives us a broad audience here to distribute our app. So that's also a hugely exciting deal in the works. Yeah, so just real quick to end off, what's next for us in 2023, looking at the right-hand side, that blue shaded area of the slide. As I say, we're launching the BCU deal on May 17th. The first employer that's coming on board is Cardinal Health, which is about a 40,000 employee company. And then we're going to look to, as I say, just work on that pipeline growth and really push that forward, because we're seeing a huge influx of interest come through. And then later on in the quarter, looking to do that AARP implementation, onboard more credit unions, as I mentioned, onboard more corporate partners through BCU. We're hoping to reach out to at least the pilot phase with Target still, possibly this year, which is huge. And then, as I said, towards the end of the year, or possibly into the new year, expand our market into adjacent verticals of regional banks and go from there. So lots on the go, Garrett. Been super busy. And again, I really don't think we'd be in this position without some, and in particular, Garrett's support. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Really, I know it's no easy task getting a contract done with the BCU, or not. I know that AARP is just like, it's on the 1 yard line right now. So very excited for that one to get into the end zone and for you to launch with them as well. It's been a lot of fun to watch. So appreciate you making the time for us this evening. And just to get to speak to part of the reason why we like to have those strong large co-investors along the way. Would you mind sharing with the group sort of Ryan's take on the AARP partnership as from a funding standpoint? I think that was I think he summarized it nicely, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure, Garrett. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I think it's along the lines of just an early stage startup to have this type of opportunity with AARP. It's something he mentioned he had never seen before at this stage. Really, just an incredible opportunity that if we do get it right, we'll have a massive impact on the company. So he's certainly really excited about that, as are we. But also, equally excited about what we've got going on the credit union side as well. It's phenomenal just how big that market is, and also from a credit union perspective, out of all the segments that that we've spoken to from an enterprise perspective, banks, insurance companies, wealth managers, etc. It's really kind of a golden age for credit unions and fintechs. Credit unions are really open and receptive to that idea of working with fintechs, and fintechs are, really looking at the credit union market as a major market to go after. So that's exciting. AARP is just massively exciting as well. So, we're hoping for a good year, certainly.
Awesome. Hey, thanks again so much for the time. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna introduce Pablo. There's Pablo, are you with us right now? And then we got Dylan up right after that. And Kevin, if you drop your contact info, just in case anyone has a direct question, that I think that's it's great. We can make that available to everyone. Pablo, are you with us right now? There you are.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So Pablo was again got to know meet Pablo a few years ago and follow his journey building Clearclub, which I sort of simplify as being the dollar shave club for oral wellness. Pablo realized after being a lifelong teeth grinder that the cost of these custom mouth guards was far too expensive, and actually like any great entrepreneur, started making them out of his dorm room or out of his little apartment, and built his business into the largest direct-to-consumer custom mouthguard provider in the country, with over 40,000 customers over that they've served over the past few years. They've not only are doing these in a one-off fashion, but they're also doing it in a way where these customers are getting on a subscription model because mouthguards get nasty. And Pablo took that idea and has now built it into even a larger business, where he's now doing sports guards and he's doing cleaning solutions for teeth whitening. And one of the things in a tough market that's really nice to see are businesses that are approaching profitability. And we're just knocking on the door. As a board member, I sit on the board of Clearclub alongside Rogue Ventures. And then I believe Dan Peterson was on the call earlier today from New Fund, who's an advisor LP in our fund as well. We have gotten to watch and track Pablo's progress over the past few years, and his office is just down the road over by LAX. So if anybody ever wants a tour and wants a custom guard, we'll bring them over. Anyway, Pablo, why don't you take it away and share some updates on Clearclub, and yeah, I appreciate you making the time.
Well, thanks, Garrett, and hi everyone. I think Garrett described a lot of the good things about Clearclub, and as he said, I'm personally like a very heavy teeth grinder, and started this because I needed it. So from starting in my literally in my room, I started just building the company, figure out how to make these night guards, and figure out that they are just so expensive when you go to a dentist, and when you go and try to get those ones from the pharmacy, they are not very comfortable, and you can really sleep with them. So found the way to do them. It's not very expensive to do. We get more than 70% in margin when we do those. So when I met Garrett, we were in this facility that wasn't very well polished, and after meeting Garrett and kind of starting growing the business, we are now just at a very big facility in LAX, making more than 2 million in revenue, and we're getting now to this point in getting to profitability. It's a good point to have now, given how tough is the market. So very excited about that. And as Garrett mentioned, the key or the power of our business is that we have all these mouths of all of our customers, more than 40,000. So given that we are able to cross-sell different products, including whitening, sports cards, or even retainers if someone decides to go into an orthodontic procedure in the middle. And that has been like key for our success, to not only get money in increasing our average order value, but also keeping our customers from in a long journey, because as the teeth grinders may know, this problem doesn't stop. It's something that it will go with you probably a very long time of your life. And what I wanted to share, it's mostly the experience with Garrett, and I'm kind of mentioning that he's very supportive. He started at the beginning before the other VCs that he mentioned, like Rogue Ventures, Sonder, join the team, and he's basically a very supportive investor that you can call maybe even Garrett sometimes very late in the night, or just you can tell him like that you're in trouble, and he will give you a hand and will pick up the phone, and that's, I think that is key for the success of the company. I don't know, you Garrett, you probably know that I have called you very late.
We've had some late calls. I guess it helps that I don't have a significant other, so that I can take the calls late, Pablo. But we've worked, you know, like any startup, there it's not always a perfect line, you know, straight up. There are challenges along the way, but Pablo's done an incredible job of scaling his manufacturing. The facility that they're in right now can grow, while they're just north of 2 million in revenue, though they can grow to over 10 million in that facility. And it's been awesome to watch him put all of those processes together and really just destroy the competition. I encourage everyone to just go online and check out clearclub.com, read the reviews, see the passion that people have for the product. And the thing that's really exciting to me is the returning customer rate. You know, that this business is only becoming more profitable over time, as you know, you don't have to that lifetime value of those customers who keep returning and getting more guards, and then now you're offering new products to them. So Pablo, thank you so much for making the time for us this evening. I know this is sort of short snippets of each of these businesses, but it's kind of, you know, we've been busy as a fund, so we gotta keep rolling. But if you wouldn't mind dropping the link to the site. And then one last point to note here, is that I think one of the value adds that we've brought to the table with Clearclub is helping connect the dots with influencers as well. Cameron Taylor, who is a former NBA player who's on our team as a venture partner out of Miami, actually recently just did a whole series of posts around the sports guards, and he's connecting Pablo with Dwayne Wade's basketball camps as well. And we're looking at really expanding that piece of the business in the not too distant future, as well as we've had some other, you know, they've just done an incredible job of driving down CAC with the user testimonials and a lot of the video work that's been done across Instagram specifically, and Snapchat now, or no, it's not Snapchat, excuse me, TikTok as well. All right. Awesome. Thank you very much, Pablo. I think I saw Dylan sign on here a second ago. Let me find him. Dylan, can you come on video real quick?
Yeah. My video is not working, so I'm not sure what's happening there, but I am here.
Well, I really appreciate you making the time to join us. This is a little bit of a unique case. We've heard so many stories tonight around, you know, building these relationships over you know, many years. Dylan came to us thankfully through Hunter Ballard, who's on the call as well, who's was actually introduced through New Valley Ventures, Hunter's recent college graduate, or soon to be college graduate in the next month or so. And he pounded his fist on the table and said, you need to take a look at this company, Plantswitch, what they're doing with essentially creating a replacement for plastic silverware that's biodegradable, that you can is good for the environment at a competitive price point, is something that's really revolutionary. And I had the chance a few months ago to have Dylan come in and present, and quickly realize that this was an opportunity that was going to be fleeting quickly, and that their big money was getting ready to jump in. And Dylan, why don't you, if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit of the story of kind of what happened post-meeting and your interactions with both me and with Tammo and some of the recent partnerships and developments, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Garrett. So just a little bit of background on Plantswitch. We make plant-based plastics, and there's been this new emerging industry of what are called bioplastics to help combat the plastic waste issue, which is becoming increasingly prevalent and destroying the environment. And so there's been lots of unique technology that's come out in the bioplastic space, yet very few, if really any, technologies focused around what we do in the supply chain. So we've been able to carve out a very distinct section of the value chain for us, where we are able to take these agricultural residue streams, convert them with other materials into a functional plastic product that works like plastic, feels like plastic, but is made from and biodegrades like plants. So we're really excited about some of the opportunities ahead of us. I got to meet up with Garrett pretty recently, a few months ago, and since meeting with Garrett, we had been awarded a USDA grant for $4.9 million, but Garrett and Tammo were able to make the connections to the folks at Siemens, and I was able to loop Siemens in as a sub-awardee on that grant. Through Siemens, we will be essentially using their technology to go throughout our production facility, which we are launching at the moment in North Carolina. They will be creating carbon monitoring, verification software, and then building digital twins of the facility using machine learning to optimize efficiencies, calculate carbon impact, a lot of really, really cool things that we're doing in tandem with Siemens. And they've also provided equipment financing to us at some very favorable terms. So it's just overall been a very mutually beneficial connection, I believe. So I'm really appreciative to both Garrett and Tammo for setting that up, and really excited to see the work that we are going to be doing there. Garrett mentioned that we had some money coming in. We did raise a seed round in 2021, and then now we are closing up on our Series A over the next couple weeks. So we've spent the last few weeks working with potential lead investors and should be closing all that up here pretty shortly. So that allows us to go and launch our first commercial production facility, which will be in North Carolina. Really excited to get that up and running. We've done mostly outsourced manufacturing to date. So we've been able to make the products that you can see on the website, the forks, knives, spoons, and straws, which were essentially our MVP or our pilot product. But now at this facility, we will be making the raw material that's used to make those products, and working with really large brands and manufacturers. We've been working with Yum Brands very closely over the last year and seeking to be a main provider for them as they try to go compostable by 2025. We've also been engaged with companies like Dark Container, Hyundai, L'Oreal, Mars, Unilever, really, really big brands that are all interested in making the plastic transition. So this facility will give us 50 million pounds of annual capacity and allow us to close on some of these large commercial opportunities, which is really exciting for us. So really appreciate Garrett and Tammo for helping on the introductions front, and really just being good supportive partners that have kind of helped guide and navigate the term sheet process as we try to close up our Series A. So yeah, really, really thankful for the support.
Dylan, I'm thankful for you, because I think everyone knows I don't sugarcoat much. Dylan was gracious enough to essentially extend the terms of their seed round to let us in into that. And as many of you, and if many are going to be watching this video afterwards, because Sunday night didn't obviously work for all of our LPs to jump on and join. I've been calling and harassing around capital calls. Hopefully not too much harassment, but we're actively trying to push some more capital into Plantswitch because of the immediate, because of the markup and the opportunity, and appreciate being able to get into the deal, Dylan. So thank you for that. And yeah, really excited with this new facility that you're launching. You're gonna be able to do well. I I probably shouldn't quote too many numbers. I know I get in trouble sometimes. I get excited about founders, and I start quoting potentially confidential information. But I'll share one-on-one with our LPs some of the exciting KPIs that are coming up. But needless to say, there's going to be a massive capital infusion in the Plantswitch, and there's anyone knows Yum Brands buys 8 billion plastic spoons, forks, and knives and straws a year. Did I get that figure correct?
Yeah, globally they use about 10 billion items of each plastic SKU. So they spend over $1 billion on their plastic packaging every year. It's a massive opportunity. They've committed to go fully compostable or recyclable by 2025, and we've been working hand in hand with really all of their engineering product teams, along with their converter manufacturers, to basically build up the supply chain in order to help facilitate that transition to bio-based plastics. So that facility that we're launching, as Garrett mentioned, it'll have about a $75 to $100 million of revenue capacity, depending on pricing, and it's just kind of a small step towards the dent that we need to make into the plastic industry. So,
awesome. Hey, thanks again for making the time for us tonight, and yeah, much more to come from Plantswitch in the months ahead. So great. So what we have is I've got a couple of quick recordings from a couple founders that were unable to jump on tonight that I want to share. Just had our DressX board meeting earlier this week, and the founders had the chance to sit down with Daria and Natalia right after that board meeting concluded. Excuse me. And I'm going to play the cell phone video that I shot just to make sure that we give Daria and Natalia a chance to participate as well, because they're busy this evening. But let me pull this up. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Share this. All right, here we go. So I'll let them take it away. Go. So I'm here with Daria and Natalia, the CEO and COO, co-founders of DressX, and unfortunately they're unable to make it on Sunday night, but we just finished a board meeting and really happy that they could join us and share a little bit about all the exciting developments that have recently happened with DressX. And so I think I'll just kick it off for our new LPs. Daria, would you, or Natalia, whoever, would you mind sharing just a little bit about what DressX does for the starters?
Yes, DressX is your meta closet. So it's a wardrobe for digital only fashion that we started building in the summer of 2020. And since then, a lot of people opened up their first meta closets. So we launched our mobile app on iOS and Android. We launched our digital collections in partnerships with Meta, with Roblox, with Web3 based environments like the Decentraland, and we aim to dress up 1 billion people.
Yes, absolutely. And what's so important that some of the people in our journey, and Garrett is definitely one of them, became supporters early on when we pitched DressX as an idea only, and it was hard for people to understand that actually the notion of a digital wardrobe will become so important for like certain generation, and that it will continue to become kind of a commodity. And that's exactly the future we're building. But Garrett was one of our first investors, angel investors, and then continue to invest. So we can say it's a part of our board meetings as the board observer, and we're happy to have this expertise. And what's important also to remember about DressX, we are working a lot with clients and partners like Meta and Snapchat and Roblox. And obviously, it's way easier for you to just download the DressX app to play around, to see what it looks like, or to find some of our products within directly Meta or Roblox, and soon to build Snapchat as well. But we're doing a lot with the company now already. So there are a lot of excitement while building the company like DressX with lots of innovation behind it, and we're very happy to have the supporters on board with us and having some ventures as a part of our journey.
Thank you. Just real quick, would you mind sharing some of the recent milestones? Like there were some exciting awards that happened in the past quarter that we just covered, and some exciting partnerships. Would you touch on a few of those for the group?
Sure. So we just finished the board meeting, as Garrett mentioned, and we're sharing all these updates and summary. Happy to share with you all that DressX was named one of the most innovative companies by Fast Company. The first in the list was OpenAI, and DressX was also part of this list of really new generation of companies who build in new tech. We are very delighted to be there, and it's for a good reason. We are launching our new products that will enable retailers and fashion brands to help their customers make a better purchasing decisions and see themselves wearing the outfit even before they purchased it. So we got this award, and also we closed Series A. Those are two major milestones, but of course there were a lot of partnerships in Q1. We launched our collection with Tommy Hilfiger. We launched our AI-based collection. We launched our partnership with a Perry Ellis brand, Original Penguins, and a number of others.
How many partners and fashion brands are on the platform right now?
Oh, it's over 340 designers and partners on the platform, and we obviously started with 0. So it's a huge growth, and we'll continue to onboard brands and partners and continue to work with different platforms.
Oh, I think one of the last questions for you, Daria, would you mind touching on the recent funding round and just some of the co-investors who came to the table alongside us?
Yes, absolutely. So the Series A round in total was 15 million, and some of the funds that also invested were Slow Ventures. The round was led by Greenfield Capital, and that's the largest blockchain fund in Europe. For example, and some of the other investors included Warner Music, Red DAO. This is very famous Web3 company, and a lot of others, investors and angels that are part of continue to be a part of our journey.
Okay, awesome. I'll leave it to just any closing thoughts, and we'll wrap it up.
Non-short flash of digital fashion.
And way more exciting to wear digital fashion than to talk about it. So let's chat and we'll address it.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. All right. So that was a quick update from Daria and Natalia. So they again just closed a 15 million round, and again they have if you looked at a previous update, you saw Mark Zuckerberg was actually talking about DressX on stage and their integration. One of the very few companies that actually plays nicely with both Snapchat and Meta simultaneously, and it really they're I won't say conflicting, but they're different views on what the future looks like. One is it has a more virtual reality component, which is really what Meta is pushing for, and one has more of an augmented reality component. And DressX plays in both universes really with their Meta closet. So both of those use cases, and then on top of it, when you talk about the gaming environment like Roblox and the gaming skins, they're actually one of the top selling products. They have 2 of the top 5 SKUs on Roblox. So they're obviously doing great work over at DressX, and really happy to have them in our portfolio. Last but certainly not least is Jordan Justus with Automotus. I'll just pull up it's a quick video from Jordan. I think most everyone's heard from Jordan over the past I don't know, year or so, or a couple of years. I bring Jordan back pretty frequently, but we were again some of the first investors in Automotus, rolled that equity into the fund, and then reinvested into or followed on, invested through the fund as well in the latest round. So I'm going to share the screen and share the news from Jordan.
Hey Garrett, thanks for having me tonight, and sorry everybody that I couldn't make it. Excited to share some quick updates on Automotus. For those of you who don't know, Automotus is a curb management company that works with cities to analyze and automate operations at the curb to reduce double parking, emissions, congestion, safety hazards caused by growing commercial vehicle activity with computer vision sensors. And we have been on a tear the last few months. We've been really just closing a lot of contracts, large cities. We closed the contract with the city of Miami that's starting at 350 cameras, scaling up to 2,000, which will eventually in the next 18 to 24 months, get up past just about 20 million annually. It's going to be a 5-year contract. We're closing Miami-Dade County through a SMART grant that we won, City of Philadelphia. And today, as of this past week, we have a little bit north of 28 million annually under contract that we're really just laser focused on scaling up, and are now fundraising, not really as much for the purpose of talking to the band here, but we're raising Series A and have a lot of great funds that are diving in and telling us they're going to get us term sheets in the next couple of weeks. A lot of tier 1 funds, both generalists and then some for our industry. And we're super excited. Couldn't have made it here without Garrett's support. And it's still early days, but things are getting quite a bit easier for us given all the traction we've had in the market. And so we're just laser focused on closing contracts and deploying cameras. So thanks a lot. Appreciate you guys giving me some time here virtually. Sorry I couldn't be there in person, or in real time rather. And yeah, have a great Sunday night. Thank you.
All right. So, I think that the only company that we had a little bit of a drop off on was Eargreen. Shane was going to join us from Eargreen. He had shared some news with me on the phone earlier. I hope everything's okay because his phone is off. I tried to reach out to Shane, but what I can share with the group on the Eargreen front is I just pull up their website real quick, is that their growth has been so strong that they just announced the close of a round led by Ulu Ventures that we participated in. Here, let me share this real quick. And it for those who may not recall, Eargreen, essentially what they do is they have a custom sprinkler system that they call it 3D printing water. It perfectly matches your yard, reduces your water waste by about 50%. Obviously, that's as we have encountered more and more droughts, conserving waters is a bigger and bigger topic. And Shane's been at this for a number of years now, but really finally hit that inflection point where they've worked through some of the early manufacturing challenges and have become the market leader with their solution, and are now poised to scale nicely. I shared in the last update that Eargreen closed around with Ulu Ventures along with about 6 other funds, including some ventures. And Shane informed me this morning that there's a chance that there's actually another funding round, as others have reached out recently and approached them. So I hope to make some more news in a coming update on that front. But they've been rapidly hiring and scaling and so stay tuned on our monthly updates on Eargreen. And I know that there are a handful of individuals that also on the call that also invested. So I think we'll all be high-fiving over Eargreen in the not too distant future. I will stop sharing there. And I know that we're over the 7 o'clock time. I think that the one thing I want to do to just sort of bring it all home here is just share. As an emerging manager, this has been it's a unique. Always unique challenges, right? Because in a way, I'm like a startup founder myself right now, and I don't know why. Is everyone seeing me? I feel like I've lost video here. Maybe I go to this one.
We can see you.
Okay, great. I've been like a startup founder myself in trying to execute on all of these opportunities and trying to bring together the team, and all of you have been just incredible to work with. And I know everyone's not still on the call tonight, but I want to just thank everyone who's going to be watching this later. For all of your support. To recap, we have 16 portfolio companies, and I really technically 15. We'll have 16 here in the next within the next 2 weeks. We've already agreed to terms on Skedaddle, which is a company you'll be hearing more about in the future. And we've already deployed $3.5 million into those companies. We've had markups on 9 of those 16 companies. You'll have more detailed analysis coming out on share price and on where everything stands. But I think what we have here is really a unique opportunity for any new LPs who are coming in right now to participate in that existing portfolio. And then obviously we're going to continue investing for the better part of the next year and get to about 30 portfolio companies as a whole. In the short term, my focus is really going to be, I'm going to be locked in through September on closing additional capital and actually topping off some of these opportunities where founders are really have left a little bit more room in rounds for us because they really they value us, and I've asked them to, and we want to continue participating in some of these great opportunities. So with that, I'd just like to, if anyone has a question for me, happy to answer the question. I know it's a lot of information's come your way tonight. We haven't gone through every single company in the portfolio, but I think we covered a wide range tonight. So hopefully it gives everyone better context of a flavor for our investments and what we like to see. Any questions?
Garrett? Yeah, Garrett, Dan here. Thanks. Very short, very impressive, great portfolio. I've invested in about, I think, 3 or so of the companies. I'll get hold of you Monday or Tuesday, and we can set up a time to talk this week if that works for you.
That'd be great. Really appreciate it. And always also appreciate it if there's anyone within our collective networks that you feel like would be a good fit for our fund. I know we've got some good sized checks there, or investors that have been following us for a while now that I've been actively working on. We're going to get them across the finish line, and I anticipate that we'll end our raise. We'll end up landing. I want to say we'll hit 15 million, as that's my goal, and I always like to accomplish my goals. But I feel very confident that we're going to land between 10 and 15, and by the end of September in total capital raised. And you know what? It might not be the worst thing for us, given the strength of our early portfolio, for us to even cut it off around 10. We'll see. We'll see what we end up deciding on that front. But all of our LPs, that'll be a collective decision. I reach out to everyone for. So, thank you guys so much for your time. Any other questions, though, real quick, before I jump off, or before we all jump off, I guess? No. Okay.
No questions, Garrett. Just thank you. Thanks for giving all the founders an opportunity to update everybody on the call. Really appreciate it, and appreciate everybody's time and support. Thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you all very much, and I hope everybody has a great week ahead. And I'll look forward to speaking with you all individually in the weeks to come.
Thanks, Garrett.
Thank you, Garrett. Bye bye.